what? There we go. Says my connection is bad. I don't think so. Let's see if you can hear that. Welcome to Drunken Divination. It is I, Luna. I'm here for you. So, currently I'm in a very comfy bathrobe. It is amazing. And my neighbor next door is throwing a raver. So we have the jazz on, and we'll be listening to the jazz and drinking the wine. And quite frankly, I just got started. So you have plenty of time to catch up. I put a spell on you. I didn't really. I just really like that wine glass. And for some reason, my internet is not working well. I'm drinking the remainder of my Cocoa Bon, the Trader Joe's $6 special. It is a roasted oak red blend. Oh, now you can see it, but it might be backwards. It's toasted in espresso French oak, which is absolutely fantastic. So yes, today we will be doing divination for you. I just need another sip or two of my wine, and as I do this, I will tell you about what I do, because many of you have asked. Some of you kind of have an idea, and some of you might not. And if the jazz gets too loud, just let me know. I can always turn that down. It's very good. Very good. So, I do many things. One of the things, I've been a tarot reader since about 2013, maybe 2012, professionally. I've been doing it not professionally, since like maybe 2004. It's been a long time. But professionally since like 2012, 2013. And I've not really done this live before because I've always been very busy. But when I lived in Seattle again, we're back. I don't know why it's doing that. Maybe my neighbor is bumming the Wi-Fi for his raucous party. Could be. But when I lived in Seattle, I worked for a ghost tour company, and we were busy all the time. We had huge groups coming through, like hundreds of people a day. So what I would do, in addition to my services, is give them a 3-card sample or mini tarot reading. And so it gives you a good idea of what I do. And it's more in depth than when we connect again. That means it's time for a sip of wine. That's what that means. And if you have your own wine, this is Drunken Divination, you should have a sip. Or beer. I like beer. I just can't drink it. So anyway, moving on. It's a 3-card pull. It's about 3 to 5 minutes long, depending on what the cards want to tell you. I usually offer it for about $5, so that's the value of what you're getting today, just because you're awesome and you're my friend, and I love you all. So I will start shuffling the cards, and how this works, I may not be able to get to everyone, but I might, and I'm probably going to do this for about a half hour, 45 minutes, or until the wine tells me to stop. I'm kidding, I did just start drinking it again. There we go. For whatever reason, it's just not working well with my internet, and I have a really good internet, so this doesn't make sense. But anyway, aww. Well, thank you for attending. So if you have a question, feel free to type it in the chat window, and if I miss it, I'm sorry. I'm going to do the best that I can. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the cards, and so we get to do this lovely thing since I'm on my phone, because I don't really trust... Oh, is it not going to let me flip the screen? Oh, there it is. Perfect. We flip the screen, and you can then see what I'm doing with the shuffling. Hopefully that's not loud as I'm putting you on my table. You get to see one of my altars over there. All right, I'm shuffling for the first person, and then I think that's what we do. That's what we do. And I like to shuffle it like this, because I do read cards reversed. I feel that gives a better, that feels good. I feel like that gives a better idea of what's going on in the cards. You can get more clear answers that way. Wine time. Okay. So let's see what we've got. No one stepping to the plate. Well, how about I give myself one? Well, let me see. I'm also using a pendulum right now. This pendulum is wonderful. It acts as a wand. It also acts as a grounding tool. And it acts as a pendulum. And I can I can wear it, which is brilliant. So, all right, let's see. Am I doing this for my reading? Am I doing this more general? All right, ooh, someone's sending me a picture of what they're drinking. I love it. I love it. If y'all have pictures of what you're drinking, feel free to post it. Yeah. All right, let's see. So we're just going to do 3. Oh, interesting. They're all reversed for me. So a lot of times when we get the cards all reversed, and the deck I'm using right now is the deck I usually use when I work with clients. I just really like it. It gives my readings are a little more psychological in nature. I study Jungian psychology. I shouldn't say, well, Jungian psychology and psychological methods. And that in itself requires another drink, I think. But yeah, I like to go deep into the psychology of things. So like we can talk about, you know, predicting the future, and the cards will do that to a certain point, but trying to connect again, there it goes. It depends on what you want to do with your life. Like if I tell you everything's going to be amazing, but you don't do what the cards told you to do, then everything might fall apart because you chose to do something other than what was already written in the cards, or you decided to like stop trying. So then the cards, everything, you know, falls apart because you didn't do what you should have done. So like the future is mutable because you get a, let me see, there we go. Or sometimes it might be that in the future it says, oh, there's some things that are going to fall apart. I can tell you what to do to help those things along. Some things just need to fall apart in your life sometimes to make way for things that won't. And sometimes you can actually fix things that might otherwise fall apart. So that's kind of what I do. But if we don't go to the root of things, we can't really get what you really desire out of things. So when all the cards are reversed like these are, a lot of times that means that either you're in a holding pattern, which is pretty spot on for what I'm going through, or it could be that you're just in a place where you don't have a lot of power and control over situations in your life, or you don't feel that you do. Bad thing. I'll say that again. It keeps fading in and out. I hope it's not fading in and out for you. That's not necessarily a bad thing, just FYI. It just means that sometimes in life you can do things about things, and sometimes in life you gotta just wait and sit back and kind of ride the forces that be. So essentially with this card, if it were this way, it would be talking about feeling trapped. It would be talking about struggling really hard and kind of hitting your head against the wall because you're struggling so hard. And in this capacity, it's a few cards that I love the imagery of on this deck. And this card, I love to talk about the lore. The swan just keeps struggling and struggling. And the more he struggles, the more he's being pulled back down by the vines. And if he could just stop his struggle, he could look around and see there's all these swords and he could cut himself free. There's a hummingbird trying to show him the path out. And if he looks even closer, that's like a weird looking illusionist dude there. It's all illusion. It's not real. It's all mental illusion. It's where our mind makes us think that we have to do things a certain way in order to get certain results, or it makes us trapped in where we are when we just aren't seeing a better way. So in this capacity, it's actually a really good card. It's saying that I'm right now seeing other paths and being able to see other applications of what I could be doing, which is moving on to the Nine of Pentacles. Basically, these two cards are saying just chill out for a little bit. If I can just read the whole thing together, it would be telling me just chill out for a little bit. Everything's gonna be cool. But yeah, the Nine of Pentacles is normally a card of basically a practice makes perfect type of card. It's a card of like management of anything, time, energy, resources, money, even your house and home. And being reversed, that could mean, for one, I am currently in the process of downsizing, so I can move to Europe at the end of the year as long as things still remain the same with COVID and we can still travel. That's my goal. So yeah, a lot of downsizing, letting go of things instead of the management and maintenance of them. It's more releasing things. It's also telling me I can just have a good time for the moment. Sometimes through play, you're able to see paths that weren't otherwise available to you. And I have been trying to make new paths this year, so that makes a lot of sense to me. And then being able to the enjoyment of things, being able to release everything. That's also what that card's saying. It's not a do or die sort of situation. It's okay. This card, though, is saying I might need to be a little cautious about my finances for a time, which I already had planned this year. But if it were this way, it'd be like, wow, abundance is just going to be overflowing. The Six of Pentacles. Pentacles is a suit of earth, and it's a suit of money, finances, and all these people who are joining. If you have a question, I'm kind of going deep with this reading because I don't have anyone else asking, but if you would like a specific thing for me to pull on, let me know. I'm going to see if, also send it to me in Messenger. I don't think it'll mess up if I can see the post. It'll just be something general or a general situation about life, like I want to look into my career or my relationships or whatever, and we can look at that. I don't have to name you. If you want to be anonymous, you can just send me an inbox request for it, and I will look at that. I might have to get on my computer or that's next to me to look at that, but I can look at that. So yeah, anyway, the Six of Pentacles is usually about being able to overflow. It's not a good idea and sometimes Pentacles is even about the body, like your physical corporeal form. We're talking about, especially this card here, we're talking about filling ourselves up before filling up others. Don't give out of, don't give out of your own cup until you take a drink of it. Yes, and here I go. When it can relate to wine, why not relate it to wine? That's what I have to say. So yeah, fill yourself up before you then you can overflow and fill up the cup of another. That's what this card is about. It is reversed right now, so it's telling me to be mindful of my own resources. We're releasing resources, but be mindful of what I need, the energies I need, the money, resources, time, and energy that I need for myself. That's what that card's saying. So overall, this was just a quick pull for myself so you can see kind of how I do the readings. Basically telling me it's okay to chill out through play, through anxieties or need for striving. I'm going to be able to see certain paths I haven't seen before. And although they may not produce results right away, which I didn't expect them to, eventually it will be what I needed, or it will lead me down the right path. It might be an introduction to what I'm going to need. So that's kind of how my readings work. And this is one of my this is my main reading space here when I do readings for people. And I have different altars way back there, altars there, altars here. I'm surrounded everywhere by altars everywhere. It's quite lovely. It's my space. So, but every place in my house pretty much has altars. So let's move this back around. Hi everyone. If you would like a reading, I would be more than happy to do a 3-card pull for you. Otherwise, we can just, not drunken shit talking, but I could sit here and shit talk about the cards all day. It'd be fun. So yeah. Send me either in the chat here or in my own personal inbox, just the general thing that you're looking for, and I can let you know. So I can give you a little sample 3-card reading, and they go pretty deep for little samples, honestly. They're well worth it. So yeah, how I do my readings is a little more, oh, well, thank you. Yes, my goddess, I guess you could call, my patroness that I work with in her. I have a group, a Facebook group all about her and learning her magic and how to work with her. She is quite lovely. I work with her and teach her workshops, I guess, once a week. I used to teach classes to her, and now I'm moving all that content online, and I'm writing a book, woohoo, about how to work her magical rosaries and other magical rosaries and things like that. But that's why I have sugar skulls everywhere. She is, some representation of her is in pretty much every room of my house and outside and in person too, so this is how we roll. But yeah, that's how I roll. So yeah. So yeah, anyway, I use archetypes in the cards, and you have 78 different cards, and I'm still waiting if anyone would like a reading. This won't last all night, so now's your time. 78 different archetypes in the cards, times that by 2. I don't do math, but it'd be like 146 maybe-ish. Maybe I got that right. Something like that, total because you do reversals or upright. And so you have those many different options when you pull cards. And when I do a full reading, what I just did was a sample. I have very specific places that those cards will go. So like in the center will be the now. Back here would be more like past. Up here would be more like future. Down here is more shadow elements. You got to know what's going on in your subconscious if you want to do things right. Up here would be more like, you know, things that are from your higher self. That's one of my favorite spreads to use. And then I always have a crossed condition to see what any hurdles might be, or if there are any crossed conditions standing in your way. It's important to know that. Yay, someone's down. Hi there. Little sample reading. Just tell me either general or like the general area of life that you would like. And you can either post it here or you can send me an inbox any right now. So yeah, and I will get to them as I'm able and as I see them. So feel free. A lot of people like to look at things like, I've had several that are like, oh, I want to look into my education, like, should I go back to school? I've had people talk about, I want to look into career. I've had people just do general is fine. We can totally do marriage, family. So again, these are sample readings. It's just 3 cards. If you ever want to go deeper, you know how to flip this around so you can see the cards again. There we go. And you'll see as hopefully, I'm propping it up against the wine bottle like a champ. There we go. I'm just going to shuffle these cards back in real good, the ones that I had for me. I think I should probably take another drink of wine because this is Drunken Divination. Normally I would never drink and but when we're having fun, it's so much fun to do Drunken Divination. It keeps it chill. Here we go. I'm just going to shuffle these till they feel right to me. It'll reverse the cards real well. And you never know what's going to happen when you do that. That feels good. All right, time for a drink. Click and drink. Boom. Yes. Oh, that's lovely. Okay. Here we go. So, for marriage, family. Oh, so we are already getting cards of emotions. And I wouldn't be surprised if you're an empath because of that card there. That is the Queen of Cups. Cups are all about emotions and relationships. My connection for some reason keeps saying that it's reconnecting, so I'm hoping I'm not skipping out on you. So I might repeat a few words just to make sure nothing gets lost. But yeah, that card is definitely, she's a queen, so it's yes, I'll get to you right after this, Cedar. Thank you. She's definitely an empathic type. She feels things very deeply. She would probably be the type trying to hold the family together. That's what I'm. So it depends on, again, this is more of a general reading. So it depends on what you mean by marriage, family. If you're already married, or already have a family, I could see there might be some trouble right now. If you don't already have a family or aren't already married, then this would be talking about patterns from your past when you were growing up, patterns from previous relationships that were troubled. If this card were this way, it would be the happy family card. And that's kind of the ultimate card of what everyone wants. That's what everyone wants to get in a reading, is, oh, everything's great and we're so in love and everything's working out and whatever. This way it's saying that there's probably been some trouble, some things that you've been trying to work through on your own, connecting. There we go. Maybe just on your own. Again, this is kind of the energy of trying to hold things together a lot on your own, possibly taking responsibility for more things that are yours, or taking responsibility for things that are not yours and not taking responsibility for the things that then are yours. So some of this could even be mirroring. We get some of that, but it's based on some of, and with this card, this is emotional, the emotional energy of the happy family. So it's what the emotional enjoyment of it. And so a lot of times when we're not being emotionally fulfilled in the ways that we need, there can be a sort of push to reconnect. There we go. An emotional push and pull. And so I would recommend, if you haven't, eventually, maybe not right now, but if you're able to right now would work. If nothing else, at least in the near future, by midsummer, look at going over and talking about expectations, talking about what you had wanted to get and what they had wanted to get out of the relationship, and maybe ways, and not in a judgmental way, just in a very open, like more of a, maybe I'm not meeting needs here and I don't realize it. Maybe you're not realizing it either. That sort of energy. Because it feels like it's been going, it's things. It's like when people don't say what they want and they just expect you to know what they want. That sort of energy is also at play here a little bit too, which leads me to my last card, which is the Devil card. And so this is... There we go. This is one of the cards that some people who are newer at tarot or come from other types of religious backgrounds might not enjoy this card at first. This and the Death card always get a bad rap, but they're not bad cards. This card is anything that you... looking at any place that you give your power away. And in relationships, especially when we come from patterns that aren't as healthy, and most of us do, to be quite honest. Again, just making sure. There we go. When we're coming from patterns like that, it's very easy to accidentally give our power away in relationships. That's anywhere that we don't say what we want when we really want something, because we think that we just won't get it anyway. Those types of patterns. Any place that we allow our choice or what we desire to be put in the hands of another person. This can be as extreme as addictions, and it can be as simple as people pleasing. It can be anything in between. So paying attention to those patterns. And if you look carefully, the Devil here is dancing on top of someone that he has entrapped. And if you look, there's the key. The key's right there. The person's chained, but he could just, again, there we go. He could just reach up and grab the key and unlock it and let himself free. So it's being able to realize things, being able to realize where we could be better, where we're giving our power away, where we're not exercising our choice and our will as human beings, as people. And that's what it's talking about. So being able to look at that's going to be helpful. Being able to admit to certain things about yourself and admit to where you've been wrong in a very healing way, not a negative way. A very, I realize that I could be better in this way, and I think I'm going to try to do that for you. And then after you do that a little bit of time, then, go back and be like, hey, so let's sit down and have a chat about some things, talking about expectations, talking about how to better support each other. That's what it's talking about. So those are some of the roots I'm seeing. And again, we kind of got a little deep on that one. But being able to do that, I feel if you put a lot of effort in, if you're able to go to counseling, that would be good, because sometimes some of these, it can be a little hard to admit to that in a way that's supportive of both people, because usually it's based on fears. Usually a lot of this is based on fears. I won't be given the love that I need, or love has been withheld from me in the past. That's usually where those fears come from. I do recommend doing some sort of counseling if you're able to, but if not, there are ways that you can do that on your own. It's just a little bit harder. It's a little bit easier if you can do some sort of counseling. So, but yeah, definitely, if you were able to look into some of that and work on some of that, I would say easily the end of May or so, I'm feeling like summertime, beginning of summer, these types of things, you might be able to start seeing a shift. There is the potential for that. I just feel that it's kind of like where things are, instead of meshing, there we go, meshing well, it's kind of like not quite meshing well. And that's definitely something that can be worked on. So next, let's look. We've got ancestors and mighty dead. Let's look at, did you want to know, like, messages from them? You're very welcome. And like I said, these are smaller readings. So if you need any more, if you need me to go into greater detail, normally I pull at least 9 to 12 cards in a general reading, depending, just like a 15-minute reading even. So we always go a little bit deeper. Cedar, let me know if you were looking at just more general with ancestors, mighty dead, or if you were looking at specific like messages from them. I'm gonna shuffle your cards. Oh. I need a drink before that. Here we go. Here we go. We're going to have a good time. This is all for, oops. Ha! There we go. I turned on my flash. I've had a couple sips now. How can I work better with them? Oh yeah, for your living family. So sometimes even, we'll see what comes up. Sometimes you might get ancestral woundings come up in that, which is a fascinating topic. Here we go, here we go. Gotta swirl it real good. Get all the juices flowing. Get the aroma coming out the top. This is a good wine, by the way. So it's Coco Bon. And it is aged on espresso toasted French oak. And it's like the $6 chuck or whatever at Trader Joe's. It's really good, honestly, for $6. Yeah, so while I shuffle, I'll talk a little bit about ancestral woundings. So if you've ever noticed patterns repeating in your family, a lot of times those are ancestral woundings. Those are things where someone in the family line has a wounding, and it gets passed down. And so there is actual scientific evidence to support this. When someone has PTSD, for example, that can be passed down in your DNA, in the genetics, in like the way you have certain parts of the genes that flip on, kind of like light switch, and off. I'm not I'm not a physicist, an astro, but you know, armchair stuff, that's basically how it works. And people with PTSD, they have the ability to pass that down, even in the genetics, to their children. And then of course we all know that people with things like that have the ability to pass down those patterns just in how they teach their children, and how, not even teaching, it's more like how you show them to be, how the example that you set. Children learn, this actually feels great. Children learn a lot through example. And so we mirror our parents in certain. I hope I'm not skipping and cutting in and out, because on my screen it looks like I am. But children have I could always pull on that if you would like, but I won't pull unless you say you would like that, Vanessa. And Chris, I got you. You're next. Cool. But yeah, there are ways that you can end the cycles in your own line, and even sometimes heal people in your own family if they're open to it. They have to be open to it, just by being able to process the process of releasing those cycles is what we call ancestral healing, and it's a whole thing in and of itself. Okay. So, I was talking about ancestral healing and stuff. You might want to look into that. The reason I say that is all of these cards, actually. You have, this is a card of luck. It's the Wheel of Fortune. This way it's talking about bad luck, and I'll explain what that means. Don't freak out about it. This way it would be talking about good luck cycles. Now, in life, we all go through periods of good and bad luck. That's normal. But since you were talking specifically, let me just look at what you said specifically. Working better with them for your living family. That very well could be, and I'm just going to repeat that because it did this little spazzy thing again. There could be a blockage, and it could be something that has to do, okay, good. It's probably something that has to do with ancestral wounding. I wouldn't be surprised. Or sometimes like this, you might see where, like someone in my family, for example, way back was disowned, like back in the, I don't know, 1950s-ish. They were disowned from part of them to reconnect. There we go. That's so annoying. And so that could be one manifestation of what this might be, where you're not connected anymore to that one part. And it wouldn't take much to reconnect it, because you are, and I'm just using my own example as an example, but you know, you're still kin. So it's not like you're disconnected. It's just that severing happened. And so it needs to be put back together. That's a type of ancestral wound that could manifest. But yeah, look at, oh, I get to wave it at someone. That's fun. I've never seen that before. So yeah, that's the type of thing that we're talking about here. Look at ancestral patterns. Go back to like as far back as you can with learning about the history of your family, if you're able to do so. Finding out anything that's hidden. A lot of times with something like this, we might find something that's hidden. You might also have ancestors and stuff that need healing to cross over fully. That might also be part of this. But there's some sort of blockage causing a bad luck cycle with that, and also not allowing you to move forward with doing what you want to be doing with that. You can still learn a lot about these things, and you can work. I work with Santa Muerte, like I said. If you work with her, if you're open to reconnect, there we go. If you're open to it, you might be able to learn a lot with her. But this would normally be a card of being able to proceed on your path and making your path as you walk it. And it's reversed too. So it's saying until you, this is almost like if you were looking at getting deeper into it, this would be a type of blockage that you'd need to overcome to learn more so you could move forward in creating what you're doing, if that makes sense. So feel free to look more into it, research it. This feels, there we go. It feels like a hurdle. It feels like a blockage, but not a negative one. It might feel like that right now, but it would be one that when you overcome it, you'll learn a lot more about yourself and about how to be healthier as within your own family and within your own relationships and within your own self. It's the Devil card again, which I did shuffle those cards good. You guys saw me. This is the fun part about tarot. Sometimes cards will just keep popping back up, and if we notice that's the case in this video, and then we all might want to pay a little more attention to this card in our own lives. But yeah, any place, like another one that happens a lot in families, you'll get people who are, you know, the empaths, and that gets passed down, but like through like the women, and through the men you get the so like the line that's passed down through the men might be more the narcissistic line, and that would also be an ancestral pattern that needs to be healed. Otherwise it'll just keep replicating itself. Just a couple examples here, but yeah, pay attention to any place where you give away your power, whether it be literal in the decisions that you're making or in the actions that you're taking in your life, or whether it's more spiritual. If you're looking into this as a spiritual thing where you want to start doing more of that work, working with spirits and working with ancestral patterns with other people, this is an opportunity for you to learn some really important things that are going to help you. So that's what I'm trying to say here. Pay attention to those patterns and any spiritual things that you're also surrendering your power to, because we're here on this physical realm, and just to what I'm talking about here with spirits and ancestral things, when our relatives passed on, so this could even be relatives you've never met, ancestors you've never met, when they pass on, they are basically in a holding pattern, and when we are able to overcome these obstacles, it also heals them. So sometimes you'll even see spirits that don't cross over right away that are of your ancestral line, because they're trying to work through, a lot of times it's because of guilt, to be quite honest. They realize when they're done that they didn't do what they had wanted or what they could have done, and they're like, wow, I was kind of a jerk, or wow, whatever. Or even if they don't admit it, they still realize certain things, and that causes them to hang. There we go. They want to see the patterns removed. They want to see the patterns worked through, and that will provide them with their own healing. So when you do this type of work, when you're looking at these patterns that have been passed down and you're looking at healing them, that not only heals yourself, that not only heals future generations, it might even heal people that are currently incarnate on this earth that are in your family group. It can also heal people who've already passed and haven't crossed over. And that's more karmic, and that's actually really important to understand. So you have a lot that you can do here, and I know that these cards are reversed here, and this one is sometimes a little, I'm going to say annoying, because it is kind of annoying to work with sometimes. But you have, there we go. There's a lot of potential in that reading, so yay. Oh, hi, Christy. I think 2 people. Let me just scroll up for a minute. I have a couple people, but if you're looking for a reading, and anyone else who's Catholic background, family member in the hospital, revert back to praying the Rosary. Oh, that's fantastic. Yes, especially if your whole family background is Catholic and the Rosary resonates with you. That's a fantastic thing to do. That can call upon some of the spiritual energy of your ancestors who've passed. And if any of them have worked through some of these things or have let them go, they can also help you as well. So that's actually really good. So yeah, Christy, you can ask just for a general reading if you'd like, or like a general area of, could be be like, some people like career or family relationships or whatever. So like if you want a specific thing, you can just ask. Yes, I'm going to scroll back up. I think you were the one that asked. Yes, so you were next. There we go. And I think there was no one else above that. All right, we're good. So yeah, we're going to talk about a pet that passed now. And Vanessa, okay, you said you're curious about your grandma. If you wanted Vanessa for me to do that, you can be next since you asked. I just want your permission before I read for you, because I wasn't sure if that was an actual request. So, all right, so oh, you're welcome, Cedar. Thank you for coming. That's fantastic. I think it's some wine time, though. I need to take a real quick time out. And if you have your own wine, it is now a good time. You can drink it. Yes. Okay, Vanessa, you'll be the next one after this, since you asked. And then after that, we'll see who asks. I have 2 in the wings. All right. Oh. I should probably reverse the camera. There we go. Now you can see as I'm shuffling everything back in. Oh, hi, Deb. You're so sweet. I miss you guys. Oh, sweet. Read for your friend. Just let me know what you want me to do, and I can do that. Again, these are sample readings in my regular readings. I usually pull at least 9 to 12 cards or so. 15 minutes. And these are kind of going, I think it's the wine. I don't know. I'm just going real deep in some of these. These are supposed to be like 3 to 5 minute readings, but that's okay. I'm having a good time. I hope you are too. Like a nice overview of what we're talking about. Half an hour, we can go really deep. But if you've never had a reading before, usually 15 minutes is about enough. So, all right, we're going to pull about a pet. Here we go. Oh, Christy, I can just do a general reading for you. It's fine. I just offered. So you'll be then after, where was it? There's one after this, and then I'll get to yours. So a pet who passed. Let's pull about the pet who passed. Oh. So I understand some of this because I had a pet who passed not quite 2 years ago. And it was my first son, Kitty, and I loved him dearly, and that was hard. So I understand how hard this is. I feel a lot of emotional energies here, and then we're going to get to this one here in a minute. That's kind of separate. So we're going to talk about these 2 first. Queen of Swords is normally a card, and is trying to reconnect. There we go. Normally a card of being able to see things clearly, being detached from things, so like emotional detachment a lot of time. I see a lot of Aquarius energies with her, but my experience with Aquarius is a lot of times they're a little more detached, more rational in thought. It's reversed, and so this is also a card of emotions as well. And this feels a lot like Scorpio energy to me. And Scorpio energy is the energy of death and regeneration just naturally. It's a sort of like a butterfly energy, if you were. Like, it literally is a phoenix. That's one of the higher representations of Scorpio. But with this and with this, a lot of what we're feeling is a lot of emotions beneath. Trying to reconnect. There we go. Trying to keep the surface nice and glossy, and like, oh, everything's fine, but everything's not. It reminds me of that, everything's not fine. It reminds me of that picture of like the guy sitting in the bar, the dog sitting in the bar drinking, and it's on fire, and he's like, everything's fine. So beware of that right now in your life. It's okay to say everything's not fine. I'm not okay with this. And maybe people be like, oh, it's just a pet. Well, I get it. A pet is like a family member. It's okay to be grieving for that, and it's okay to feel lost in that grief for a time. Be willing to express it, and that's what that card's saying, but I'll get to that in a minute. Be willing to express your grief. Be willing to feel that grief, because as reconnection, as I've heard it said before, grief is just an expression of love. It's kind of the flip side of love. When you love someone or something so much, what you feel on the flip side of that is grief, is deep, just as deep as that love goes. the grief goes just as deep, and a pet is a valued family member. So honor that grief within yourself. You might want to look at doing grief work. Look at allowing yourself to cry. Find maybe a time and a place that works really well where you can connect, light a candle for your pet, and just let it all out. Tell them everything. Give them a treat, one of their favorite treats. I understand how this is, but give them their favorite treat or favorite canned cat food or whatever, and invite them to come so that you can pour your heart out to them a little bit, and pay attention to your dreams. When you do this, they oftentimes, if you're a dreamer type, they oftentimes will come to you in your dreams and help to resolve some things. But if you hold it in, you're not going to get you're not going to resolve it. So be willing to feel it. I feel like this is often a card of, I don't mean apathy in the terms, but like forced apathy, where you're like, oh, everything's fine, in this case anyway, and opportunities passing you by. And I feel that your pet has been around you a lot, and you just haven't been able to feel it. Or if you have, you felt it too deep. So honor your pet. Honor their memory. Let everything out. When my kitty died, I was like, man, I was the worst mother ever. I could have been a better mother. And I just I did remember the good points, but I also was like, I was hard on myself. I was like, wow, I should have been a better mother. I should have been whatever. And so depending on what type of person you are, your grief might focus on all the good points, or it might only focus on the bad. And so letting that out is very important. And then wanting to reconnect, there it goes. Once you're able to get past that, you can then get to the point of being able, oh, yeah, and that's not your fault, okay? And she would never hold it against you. So I just want to make sure that is understood. I feel like again, this is a card of a woman, by the way, or that female energy, so I'm not surprised that it was a her. Keep in mind that, like I said, there's a disconnection right now, and your grief is causing that disconnection. So you gotta let it out. You gotta cry. You gotta pour your heart out, and whatever you felt you didn't say it to her. That's why I suggest lighting a candle and calling her with some sort of treat or something. She'll be there, but then you'll feel it. You'll know she's there, because right now it's hard for you to feel that. And so if she has been trying to reach you in dreams, she hasn't been able to be overwhelmed, is what I'm feeling. And then you're going to get to this point, and this is the point of being able to express that in a more creative, more feel-good sort of way. So once I personally let go of some of that, I was able to come from a place of connection that felt really good, because I knew that, like, all these things that I was saying about how I could have been better, or maybe, whatever, that's not how Kitty looked at me. That's not what Kitty saw. Kitty just saw me as his mother, so being able to come from that, being able to know that, is going to help you, but you got to let it out first. I can tell you all of that until I'm blue in the face, and it won't matter unless you let it out. Reconnect. There it goes. When you get to this point, you're going to be able to work with her more fluidly. This is a card of expression, creative expression. If you do anything artistically, at this point you might be able to incorporate her into that. If you do magic, she might even be able to help you from the other side. This is like a type of almost co-creation in a sense, and it's not a perfection. It's just having a really good time with each other. At that point, she might even be a friendly familiar that comes to your house all the time, and you just happen to catch her walking around in the corner. Instead of bringing you grief and sorrow, it'll bring you happiness. That's the difference. You're transmuting this grief into happiness, and that's what's needed right now. You have to feel the grief and move through it to transmute it. You can't just try to push it away. It won't work. You have to let it all out. So you're probably, if you want to write her a letter, some people are writers, you can burn it and tell her all about it. These types of things can be very cathartic to get you to this point here. And this is going to be where you want to be. This is where she wants you to be, just FYI. She doesn't like the disconnection either. She doesn't like to see you suffer. And that's what I'm feeling here. What is for you to be happy, is for you to be able to connect to her in a joyous way, to connect to her memory in a joyous way. So let everything out. Let everything out. try to do that by the middle of May if you can. And I'm not putting a timeline on your grief. I'm just saying some of the best catharsis that you can do is from now to the middle of May. If mistakes killed her. I'll just pull one on that to see. I don't, this might or might not be helpful to you. I don't feel that she views it as that, and neither should you. I feel that it was her time. And so what she sees this as is, it was my time. It's more of a natural, sort of primal view of life and death. It's just like, it's okay. I passed. It happens. That's what happens to all of us. And so I would encourage you not to look at it from that perspective. If you are, again, just let it out. Let her feel what you're feeling. Let her understand she'll understand you even better now on the other side. So go ahead and just release all those emotions to her. If you think it might have been a mistake, and that's part of the grieving here, if there's any guilt or anything, just let it all out. All of the emotion, let it out, transmute it into something else, because this is just telling me she doesn't want you to view it that way. It's not supposed to, she basically, from her perspective, it's not supposed to be viewed that way. You gave her a better life, and probably a longer life than she would have had. She essentially is viewing it from a different perspective. If you're stuck in this perspective, you can't do that till you release it. So, and blessings and good luck to you, because that's hard, and I understand. Okay, now we're going to move on to, where did it go? Way up here. The grandma. But I need another drink, and so do you. Curious about my grandma. Back down. Where did it go? That's the next one. Yes, please. Okay, curious about your grandma. Do you mind just elaborating slightly? Just like, are we looking at like just her and her mental, physical, that sort of state? Are we looking at messages from your grandma? I will pull and I will see what they say, but just a little bit of like clarification as to what you're looking for would be helpful. I am going to reverse this because we're going to all take a drink. Ha ha ha. Is a drink time. Drink. Messages. I can have. There we go. Keeps trying to reconnect. All right. Put it back onto the bottle of wine here, propped up. And hello to everyone who has joined. I'm having a good time. I don't know. I'm going longer than I'd anticipated, but I'm having a real good time. Hopefully you are too. This is just a sample of some of the things that I do. They're longer samples than I ever do. But I'm having a good time. That feels real good. We're doing a short shuffle for that. So if you want a reading, just a little sample, 3 cards. Hey, it's that card again, but it's nice. But yeah, if you would like a reading, simply, oh, thank you. It says I put a spell on you. So I guess I'm putting a spell on everybody tonight. Oh, it's going to be fun. All right. So yeah, so just post if you'd like a reading and like general thing that you'd like it about. So we got a good luck card here. We got the Hermit reversed. And then we also have a card of uphill struggles, not a battle, some fun stuff. Does she know what's going on with you? Okay, that's a good question. Basically, I wouldn't be surprised if she's around you right now because the Hermit is reversed. She's definitely doing, and we have this card here too, which I'll get to in a minute. I feel that she's probably helping you right now and trying to help make better opportunities come. There it goes. This is a card of good luck cycles. So if you're in a hard place right now, I'd say she's probably working to try to make things a little bit better in your life. So in that regards, pay attention, because she can't do anything for you. She can merely help to illuminate a path, or help to illuminate something that you might need to work on, or be like, hey, what are you doing? And smack you around a little bit. She can't do anything for you, but she can try to help you. And that's also working on her own things. I feel like your path and hers are converging right now. Sometimes in order to move forward, and I don't mean cross over or move on, I mean to move forward in spiritual development when you're on the other side. Sometimes you need to kind of work through things with someone, and a lot of times it would be a family member. I had a grandmother who passed that did that as well, with me for a time, and if I called her, she would come back and help me with whatever. Oh, I feel like I should clap too. The jazz is over. It'll come back. But I've a lot of times her helping you also helps her own, and I'll just say that one more time because it was reconnecting. Sometimes her helping you also helps her own spiritual development, and that's what I'm seeing here. So she's probably hanging around you. She's probably actively trying to help you, especially because of this card. This is a card of action. This also mirrors some of what you're going to need to do. Right now we're all hermiting. I'll just turn this card around. It is the Hermit. It's taking things one step at a time, which likely you've been trying to do or having to do. Reversed, it's saying get out there, go. And I don't mean that literally, because you should be, quarantining as best you can and connect. There we go. Unless you're someone who is needed in like one of the fields, but working towards something right now is going to be important for you, and she's trying to help you, if you're able to listen, to keep things in a state of good luck, trying to help you find that good luck. So listen, pay attention to your dreams. A lot of times our ancestors will talk to us in our dreams. A lot of times you might just get gut reactions about things. This is a card of uphill struggles. It's not a negative card. It's a card of being able to push forward. There it goes. It's kind of like climbing a mountain, but you like mountain climbing. So it's a lot of effort and it's a lot of work to put in. But at the end of the day, you might be exhausted. But at the end of the day, it feels really good. And so that's what we're talking about here. Put forth a lot of the effort. Paths are going to be made apparent to you. Your grandmother's probably helping you to work on some of this. And in whatever capacity, it's also helping her. So this is a symbiotic relationship right now. And if you need to talk to her, right now is a good time to do so as well. So, and now we get to move on. So hello to everyone who has joined us. If you would like a reading, simply just type if you would like a general reading, or if you would like it to be about something in particular. It is time again for another drink. Here we go. Swish it. Yes, and drink it. Cheers. And the jazz is playing. Oh, I will give him one. I'm giving Christy one right now. And hers is more general. And I think I have no one else. And so it'll be you after that. Amir, I owe Amir a reading anyway, so he can get a full one. That's my brother-in-law, Amir. He's fun. We'll see what his... Tell him he needs to tell me what his reading's about. So like if he wants a general reading, that's what I'm going to do for Christy, unless she says otherwise. Or if he wants a certain area of life, maybe he wants to know what's up with his crazy wife. But yeah, see if he wants something in particular. I'm going to shuffle the cards for Christy. There we go. And we'll just see till they feel good. They're getting really picune. Huh. Picune, like the energy of a Capricorn. I love it. Let's see. Is this good? Should I shuffle it more? That was just a weird end to the shuffle, but it feels good. We're going to go with it. Yeah. There we go. Oh. They're all reversed. So it's talking about enjoyment for you. Just chilling, rolling with the energies right now. I'm going to put these over here. Notice they're both of the same suit. And this is a suit of enjoyment, but it is reversed. But I'll explain what that means in a minute. It's basically saying stop with the striving. Don't strive too hard. General reading. Perfect. So it'll be Rachel, and then it'll be Risa, and then it'll be Kara. Yay! So here we go. If this card were this way, it would suck. You can just see that by looking at it. So it doesn't suck as bad as I'm going to talk about real quick. So the starting point here, if this card were this way, we would be talking about feeling run through, like we just poured our heart and soul into something and then it like almost betrayed us. That is not actually what's going on because it is reversed. So it might be more fears of that. So a little bit about you anyway. This could be something as simple as I'm worried about my job because, you know, there might be cuts. It might be something, you know, something else, but something like that. It feels a little more like worrying. It feels a little more like in this capacity, like I don't want to be run through. I've poured my heart and soul into something. And so I know again that your Capricornistic tendencies would be, I need to take this by the throat and like, not maybe reins, let's say, by the reins and make it happen, make whatever I want happen out of this. And like you might be the fear of something might make you strive to make something happen or to try to control it so that something bad doesn't happen. And I'm going to tell you to just allow yourself to coast. All of these cards are reversed. So it feels to me like no matter what you do, whatever the outcome's going to be is going to be the outcome. And we don't even know what the outcome's going to be yet anyway. So allow yourself to just enjoy. This would normally be a card of going forward, blasting forward with the energies of your will. Again, kind of what I was just talking about, like trying to make something happen and being like ferocious about it in a good way, but like, I'm going to make something happen. Again, release that. Just enjoy the present moment, which might be hard sometimes, but might not, depending on the mindset you can put yourself into. And this is actually a card of play and creation. And so I'm not going to say not to play and create, but it shouldn't serve a purpose. There should be no purpose but enjoyment right now for you. You should be willing to roll with the flow, go with the tide, release isn't, there we go, trying to reconnect is gone. Go with the flow, roll with the tides, allow yourself to just enjoy where you are. If you are moved to a different position on the game board, even if it might be scary at first, ultimately it's not going to be a bad place on the game board, even if it looks like it is at first. So just trust a little bit, roll with the flow, and just enjoy where you are right now. It should be a little more like the energy of cups, a little more like the energy of enjoyment, which is also emotional enjoyment, enjoyment of there it goes, enjoyment of family, enjoyment of things like that. So yeah, that was a fast one. They weren't that fast earlier. Maybe it's because it was general. All right, so now we have, I think Rachel is the next, or Amir, I suppose. Amir is next. And I'm gonna take a simple, quick little sip because Amir is a little extra, and so he deserves an extra sip of my wine. Ha ha ha. Oh, that's good. That's good. This is also the wine that Amir picked out the other day. So I'm finishing it up now. It's a good night for finishing these up. There we go. Shuffle for Amir. He's weird, so he might need a little more shuffle. There we go. That feels good. We're going to keep it there. And he wants a general reading. Okay. General reading for Amir. Nice. So, this is talking about, all the cards are upright. So we just did one where all the cards were reversed. And now we're doing one with all the cards upright. So all the cards reversed is, again, a lot of things out of your hands. Not so much in the driver's seat, more in the lazy river. And this card here, so when all the cards are upright, we're talking more about being able to be in the driver's seat and making things happen. So this card is actually talking about stress. There's a lot of stress on the mind, and then it has the potential to block the heart. So being able to remain in a state of open-heartedness, being able, even with anxieties or fears or whatever, or that can sometimes just be even too much to do, but it's that sort of like I have so much in the mind or too much to do or anxiety, there it goes, where you block the heart. So being able to be in a state of open-heartedness helps, but just keep in mind, in the near future at least, there's going to be potential to make things happen. This is a card of money, of tangible physical reality. And so this can actually play out a couple different ways. It's also the card of like the physical body. If you were looking at a career move, it would be a career move. I know that there's some, since, you know, you're my sister, I know that there is some building going on, and this could be referring to building, but it could also be referring to trying to get a pay increase or trying to get a new job. And no matter what, this is talking about allowing other people to help you with that. Because other people being able to reconnect, there it goes, being able to get assistance from others. And so that card can be literally someone knows of an opening and you've been wanting to switch jobs, and now you can change jobs and it's a better pay than what you had previously, better things than what you had previously. That would be going through people you know. That would be like asking around and finding leads that way. And again, this is where we are. I feel that there's not always a chronological, there we go, when I just try to do a general reading, but in this case there is. So yeah, I really feel that coming more towards like summertime, for sure, that energy really kicks in. And it could be more twofold. Sometimes this is also like the refrigerator goes out and you don't have money for a refrigerator, and so someone has a refrigerator they don't need. Just as an example, your refrigerator's probably fine. But that could be anything along those lines. So keep in mind within, I'd say like, yeah, definitely by midsummer, that will definitely be well underway. Again, this is a 3, so we've got, I'd say, I was thinking 2, but 2 to 3 months or so till this energy really comes full force. Any time in between then you can activate, happening much until May. By May, this energy will be a little more pronounced. And then ultimately we have this card, beware of starting, it's connected to this one. So beware of patterns, beware of replicating, starting patterns, or finding patterns that have not worked in the past. That's what this card's talking about. And that's probably, whether you realize it or not, that's probably some of what's going on here with where you're blocking, there's a lot of mental stresses and blocking the heart. Or if maybe there's stress at work or something, again, because that's, there we go. Very potential with that card. But beware of any cycles, beware of cycles that aren't working, patterns that aren't working, that you're like, oh, that's that pattern again. That's that battle. Should I even jump into that battle? Should I just step back and like let it do its thing? And usually with this card, it's saying step back, or at least try something from a different perspective. It feels a little scientific to me in this one. More like, was it Einstein that said this? If you keep trying something that's not working the same way, that's like the definition of insanity or something like that. So like when something's not working, try it from a different perspective. Working now, I feel, even though this happens, you might start seeing it replicating itself. And the only way to fix that is to view it from a different perspective. Again, this will be more like midsummer to like, I don't know, September-ish. So through August or so that you'll see more of that after you go through some of these changes and stuff. But yeah, it looks good. And I'm hoping that makes sense. Because again, I did that. That's more general-ish. But I can always go deeper with him. I already promised him a reading when I first moved here, and he's never cashed in on that. So, you know, he gets perks. All right, so now let's move on. We've got Risa. Risa wants a general reading. Let's take a look. Boom. Oh yeah, after all of this, you know, deep talk and all that, it's time again for a nice drink. Taking a nice sip here. And you should take a sip too. Oh, I'm glad he liked it. I hope it helped him. Okay. And here we go. Recently, we're in alignment with things. There we go. I'm digging the jazz and the wine and the fluffy bathrobe. It is the best. But my cat has not showed up. Oh, that feels good. That was a quick shuffle. There we go. Ooh, we're about to get deep. Here we go. So we're talking about emotional wounding from your past specifically, and some of that coming up to surface. I'll try to keep it somewhat light, but we're talking about things from past relationships, possibly even present, but it'd probably be more like echoes. Any place where you have not felt emotionally fulfilled, whether it be because you weren't able to speak up about what you wanted, whether it be because of things that have happened in the past, or ways that you've been taught to think or to try to receive love, receiving and giving love, receiving and giving affection, these types of things. That's what we're talking about here with this card. And again, with this card, we're just seconding some of that and saying that there are still some fears that are hanging around from some of these things. Fears of not wanting that to happen again, not wanting to be driven through. And both of those cards are reversed. So they're not only saying that it's something that you can't change. It goes, there we go. It's saying that it's something that we need to leave it's from the past, something that we need to work through from the past. It's also saying that there needs to be a sense of release with it. There needs to be a sense of surrender to it. You can't change the past, but you can learn from it, and you can transmute that energy into what you need. And so then we have this card, and I'm going to recommend something very specific to you. So this card is a card of past woundedness and things that we can't let go of. It's things that we can't just forgive someone for. It's where we have felt so wounded, and a lot of times because of that, those are hot buttons. So if someone accidentally pushes that button, it really hurts. This can be even PTSD type thing. It's that type of thing that you can't just let go of. People are like, oh, just let it. You're like, no. And so sometimes it can be something as bad as someone has done you wrong, and so you become kind of like, I call it the karmic jailer, where you hold them accountable for it. And by doing so, you're tying yourself to them. And that's not helpful. That's not helpful for you, and that's not helpful for them. So I don't like using the term forgiveness, but I do like using the term releasing. By releasing things and transmuting the energy, it's like playing tug of war. If you just release that rope, the person usually stumbles back, and it's usually into a pile of their own karma. So releasing the need to hold on to past hurts or to things that have harmed us, that's a lot easier to say than it is to do. So I recommend doing a practice called Repeat That, because it was trying to reconnect. Ho'oponopono. So it's H-O, ho, with like an apostrophe. O, pono, P-O-N-O. And it's a huna practice, and it's very simple. You do this as a meditation, and I recommend saying it aloud if you're able to do so. And when you do this, it might make you cry a lot, because at first there's always this hesitation. You don't want to say it because, like, it doesn't, you get angry, you feel all of the emotions, you get angry, you get upset, you get sad. Oh, there's the cat. It's Loki. Hi, Loki. I knew you would come soon. I promised y'all a cat, and the cat has come. Oh, so Ho'oponopono, you would say, always start with yourself, and you say, give me, thank you. So doing it for yourself, you would say, Ho'oponopono Risa. I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you. And you would repeat that over and over until you feel a shift. I like doing it on rosary beads or mala beads, because you pray the whole way around and you get into a trance, and it really helps you shift your energy. But whatever works for you is fine. And then you move to the next person, to that person who harmed you. That's where it gets tricky. But the more that you can do that, the more that it's no longer a thing that when someone pokes you there, it causes all sorts of pain. After doing this for a long time, maybe a month, like it's not even that long, but if you do it daily, you're going to be able to release a lot, especially if you do it. I know some of the practices you do, so I'll recommend doing, while you do this, maybe taking a ritual bath, or doing a reversal candle while you do this, or maybe a little bit of both, and practice the Ho'oponopono to those people who've harmed you, or to the people where you're feeling fear in the relationships with. And I'm not any relationship is what I'm talking about here. Any place where you're not feeling fulfilled, or where you're feeling the fear because something that has happened in the past is going to happen again, or anything where I feel that and I know you use a lot of stones and Reiki and stuff, so do that with yourself too. It's actually really powerful when you combine Ho'oponopono and Reiki, so go for it, but use all the tools at your disposal. But yeah, I feel like there's some things that are coming to surface for you right now, probably because of some things that have happened and fears that are coming up. And so it's time to address it. If you don't address it, it's just going to be buried and fester beneath the surface. Doing it this way is going to be able to do it in a place of peace, and in a place of love. So the more that you're able to transmute that energy to self-love, it doesn't have to be love for the person who harmed you. It can just be self-love, or universal love. There it goes. The more that you're able to do that, the more that you're going to be able to transmute that to love in your own sphere. So instead of fear, or instead of pain, or instead of sorrow or anguish, you're going to be able to transmute that to more love that surrounds you. So that's what I recommend for you to do. And again, you know, with these readings, some of them are getting kind of, yay, it's Loki. Some of them are getting kind of deep, but let's see who's, and then I think we might be done because it's been over an hour. I can't believe I've gone that long, but this was so much fun. So I'll probably do this again at some point. So let's do a general reading for Kara, and then we're going to wrap it up. Yay, this was too much fun. But I'll also take questions, so if anyone has questions for me or what I do, feel free to post them, and I can definitely answer that. The Jazz and Wine Drunken Divination Hour, I guess. That feels fun. That feels fun. And Kara's a fun person, so seems right. But I'm gonna get a drink of my home brew. It's not home brew, I lie. It's brew though. That's so nice. All right, here we go. You're very welcome, Risa. All right, let's take a look here. Okay. So I was telling some other people to either go with the flow, or to like do some things, but like for you, it looks like everything's stopped because of those two cards specifically and that card. Take a breather. It feels like stasis. It feels like ice. And I mean that more in the terms of like how I would use the runes to describe things. In runic language, when things are in stasis, you get Isa, or the rune of ice. And so the chariot is normally about running. See that? Blasting forward. Like you're in the chariot, you don't have control over the reins. The universe is just launching you like forward, like the fuck forward. And there's a lot of emotions that'll come up. But for you, it's reversed. It's saying, let's not proceed right now. We're not moving forward. And part of that might be because of this card, but it might be a couple other things too. At a lesser degree, though, it's definitely partly this card. This card is a card of... on a level of creative potential, on a level of what you truly desire. And like, I use the word purpose loosely because I believe that we get to determine our own purpose, and that can change with the passing of seasons if we really want it to, but you have not decided what you want your purpose to be moving forward. You haven't decided what you want. Maybe, but not truly. This is a card of, this is what I want, and I'm going to announce it to the world, and I'm going to move forward on it. Like what I did this year, I had been planning to move to Europe for several years. Well, somewhere. I figured it would probably be Europe. For many years. Back when I was even in Seattle, I knew that moving here was going to be one step in that. And I knew that within a year or two, I'm a little more optimistic sometimes, but 2 years or so, I'd be like on my way somewhere else. And I only now announced that. This is that card of announcing it. I'll repeat that. Not just saying this to the universe, but announcing it to others. Being able to say, this is what I want and I'm going to go for it. This is, I will stop at nothing. This is my will. It's reversed. So it's telling me again, You might not know exactly what you want, and that's fine. That's not a problem, but that's part of why the brakes are on. Right now, you need to reevaluate. Right now, you need to take a step back. You need to recharge. You need to refocus. You need to take it one step at a time. You got the Hermit, and that's the card of literally not being able to see really far in the future. And again, that's okay. You don't have to always be like, this is my purpose. Sometimes you just have periods of life where you're just like, I'm figuring it out, and that's okay. You can just stay in a holding pattern for a minute as you take one step forward at a time. And that's what this is saying. You won't, there it goes. You won't necessarily be able to see super far into the future, but you can see one step at a time. So take things one step at a time. Trust yourself to take one step at a time. The lantern only shows you one step at a time. And I know you're a Sagittarius, so if you blast forward like Sagittarius is like to do, it won't work. So just keep that in mind. You probably already know that though. So blast forward in other areas of life. But in like determining what you truly desire and things like that, you know, the next path that you want to take it slow, take it one step at a time. You'll be shown the right path one step at a time. And that's quite all right, because when you figure it out, that's when you'll be able to be blasted forward into things. Those cards will turn back around the other way. Kind of like going backwards this way and saying, okay, now I know what I want, I'm going to announce it, and now the universe knows what you want, and you, for lack of a better term, program the universe with what you desire. And there are many ways of doing that. And now you're being blasted forward into the direction that you want, and the universe is like, we're going, and you're like, oh shit, we're going. Oh, the baby Luna. Hi, Luna. Aw, Loki and Luna are friends. Loki just ran away. That's hilarious. He just ran back up the stairs. So that is my wonderful wine, drunken divination. Yes. In my bathrobe. I do have something on underneath here. It doesn't look like I do, but I do. I'm not actually flashing everybody. As fun as that would be. If anyone has questions, feel free to post. I do readings. I schedule them all the time. I do them right here, kind of like we just did. Pretty much exactly like that, the Skype thing. I love doing the Skype thing or the Facebook Messenger thing, but I can also do over the phone. And like, it doesn't matter if you're the one here shuffling the cards or not. It all works out. Usually if you're over the phone, I'll tell you to tell me when to stop shuffling. But either way, it still works just fine. So yeah, I have my normal rates that I would like to keep charging, but if you have issues financially right now, which a lot of people do, and I get it, myself included, I totally get it. Feel free to let me know that you would like to be on the lesser cost route, and I can totally do that for you. At that point, I basically charge $1 a minute, which is real cheap for as good at this as I am. Not to brag, but I've been doing this for a long time. And I have a lot of tricks up my sleeve with how to help you overcome things if I see hurdles in your path. Kind of like what I did with the Ho'oponopono thing. So yeah, that's one of the tricks I have up my sleeve. I have many. And depending on what shows up on the cards for you, I recommend books sometimes. I recommend for the times. Let me find it in my bookshelf. It is one of my favorite books. It is by Pema Chodron, and it is called Comfortable with Uncertainty. It is a very good book. It is Buddhist in thought and nature. But if you're right now having trouble focusing, do not worry. It won't go back in my bookshelf. Maybe I should read it. I don't know. With some of those things. That book is great, and it's like a page or two per chapter. Like, it's real simple. You could just like read it before going to bed. There's another one, and I know I have it, but I don't know where it is. It's something like Calming the Something of Panic, and it's by, I'm gonna butcher this, Thich Nhat Hanh, Thithnhathanh. Calming the Something of Panic, and now I can't find it. But it's a really good book too, and it's also Buddhist in nature. It might be The Power of Now, also a good book for right now. So These are just some things that I recommend depending. Those are just books that I felt inclined to recommend right now. But oftentimes with my readings, people will get homework. It's fun. It's fine. It helps you. Sometimes it's hugging a tree or getting out in nature. It just depends on what the cards are telling you to do. So yeah. I wish you all blessings. Let's take one last drink before I go. Oh, I didn't say why I go as Luna. I promised you that in my little teaser. So yeah, for some of you who know me from when I was a lot younger, you know my real name, and my real name's on here, so it's fine. But when I started doing readings in Seattle for hundreds of people each day, or at least seeing hundreds of people each day go through, depending on the day. Some days I really did do a lot of readings. I went by Luna because that's always been a pen name of mine since I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. When I first found out about pen names, I'm like, well, that's fun. So I made myself a pen name and it just always felt right. And so I go by that for my business and for things. So if you know me by my real name, you can call me by my real name, that's fine. But if you know me through magical means or through like the pagan community, I do usually go by Luna in the pagan community, sort of anything. It's all good. But yeah, it has been a good time. I hope you have enjoyed yourself as much as I clearly enjoyed this as well. Once I get going, it's hard to stop. Blessings to you all. Mwah. Night.